Okay, guys, this is Dee for you all this afternoon. We're discussing matters of life or matters of death and life. Okay, so that is the discussion D for you this afternoon. Let's get into the presentation, shall we? Okay, matters of death and life is an article that expresses the emotions surrounding death and bereavement. It discusses how the news of someone's passing, whether it whether a close family member, friend, or even a distant acquaintance, can deeply affect us. The author reflects on personal experiences of loss and turns to books for guidance on understanding life's finite nature and making the most of the time we have. Okay. The article references several books that other perspectives on mortality and life's purpose. When it when breath becomes air by Paul Calenti, a mentor of neurosurgeon diagnosed with cancer, highlighting the uncertainty of time and the struggle to find meaning in each day. Mm-hmm. 4,000 4,000 weeks time management for mortals by Oliver Berkman, which challenges the idea of trying to accomplish everything and instead encourages prioritization. Then you have the power of regret, how looking backward moves us forward by Daniel Pink, which categorizes regrets and explores how they shape future decisions. The author also shares insight from extending a memorial, emphasizing how people remembered for their varied roles and contributions. The article encourages readers to actively choose how they want to spend the remaining time rather than waiting for a life to for a life altering event to prompt action. It suggests that life is shaped by the choices we make. And the best way to live it is to practice and encourage me and engage in meaningful experiences. Okay, mortality is one of the most powerful forces shaping how we live. The knowledge that life is finite pushes us to reflect on our choices, values, and relationships. And, and it acts as both a consistent contrast and a motivator, reminding us to prioritize what truly matters rather than getting lost in what directions. The article Matters of Death and Life highlights this through references to books that explore different aspects of mortality. When Breath Becomes Air shows the urgency of living with purpose despite uncertainty. Okay, then there's 4,000 weeks, encourages embracing limitations rather than fighting against them. The power of regret reveals how past choices, viewed through the lens of mortality, shape help shape a more intentional future. Beyond literal mortality influences cultural traditions, personal aspirations, and even day to day interactions. Many people find meaning in contempor- uh, contem- contemplating how they wish to be remembered, fostering a deeper fostering deeper connections and pursuing passions more earnestly. In essence, the awareness of death isn't just about endings, it's about choosing how to live fully. Okay, mortality has been a central theme in philosophy for centuries, with thinkers across different traditions exploring its implications for, for human existence. Here are some major philosophical perspectives on mortality. Okay, Socratic philosophy, immortality of the soul. Socrates, as recorded by Plato, argued that the soul is more immortal and survives physical death. He believed that life and death are part of a continuous cycle, and that death should not be feared because it is merely a transition. Existentialism, death and meaning. Existentialist philosophers like Jean Paul Sartre and Martin Heidegger view death as a defining aspect of human existence. Sartre saw death as the ultimate limit to human freedom, while Heidegger introduced the concept of being toward death, emphasizing that awareness of immortality shapes how we live. Absurdism, the meaning, the meaningless of death. Albert Camus, a key figure in absurdist philosophy, argued that death highlights the absurdity of life. He believed that humans seeking meaning in a universe that offers none, and that accepting this absurdity allows us to live authentically. Stoicism, accepting death with tranquility. Stoic philosophers like Seneca and Marcus thought that death is a natural part of life and should be accepted with equanimity. They believe that focusing on virtue and rationality helps individuals face mortality without fear. Eastern philosophies, uh, reinformation and impairments. Many Eastern traditions include Buddhism and Hinduism, emphasizing the cyclical nature of life and death. Buddhism teaches that recognizing impairments leads to enlightenment, while Hinduism views death as a tradition and the cycle of rebirth. Modern perspectives. Death in society. Contemporary philosophers like Hubert Marcus and Jackie have explored how social structures shape our understanding of death. Marcus critiqued how capitalism influences perceptions of mortality. Well, examine the impossibility of fully comprehending death. Each of these perspectives offers a unique lens into understanding mortality. Would you like to explore any of these further theories in more depth? Existentialism and absurdism are closely related philosophical perspectives, but they differ in how they approach the search for meaning of life. Hold on, folks. I gotta get. Existentialism emphasizes individual freedom and responsibility. Thinkers like Jean-Paul Sartre and Søren Kierkegaard argued that humans must create their own meaning in a world that does not provide inherent purpose. Sartre famously stated that people define themselves through their actions and choices. Absurdism, developed by Albert Camus, takes a different stance. It acknowledges that humans naturally seek meaning, but argues that the universe is different and does not provide it. Camus describes this conflict as the absurd the tension between our desire for meaning and the universe's silence. Instead of trying to impose meaning, absurdism suggests embracing the absurd and living in difference of it. In short, existentialists believe meaning can be created through personal choices, while absurd yes argue the search for meaning itself is futile, and the best response is to accept life's absurdity and continue living despite it. Would you like to explore how these ideas influence literature and or modern thought? Okay. Existentialism and absurdism are all philosophical perspectives that grapple with the absence of inherent meaning of life, but they differ in their responses to this realization. And they differ in their responses to this realization. Okay, now we're going to go to the second part of this. Meaning are futile. Some forms of nihilism, particularly existential nihilism, argue that mortality and truth are also subjective and ultimately meaningless. Existentialism, in contrast, acknowledges the lack of inherent meaning, but argues that individuals can create their own purpose through choices, actions. Thinkers like Jean-Paul Sartre and Soren Kierkegaard emphasize personal okay. So that is it for now. For Navigator Wellness. Take care, guys. I'll be back on later with another show for y'all. Okay. For now, Gator Wellness. Take care, folks.